And we back. Alright, this is going to be our last requested reaction from the YouTube, and then we're going to get into Sky's album, and then we're going to get into the Discord ones. Yeah. We got another request from Omar Vernon. We have Top 10 The Batman Who Laughs Shocking Facts, Parts 1 and 2 from Top 10 Nerd. I used to watch these things all the time, back when I used to really still read comics like that. But I've never seen this one, and I said, you know what? Why not?
Let's do it.
We react to more than just music.
I've not seen this.
So, that being said, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, let us know what you want to see us react to next, and we're just going to let both parts play out, and let's do it.
The Batman Who Laughs is one of the more recent additions to the DC Universe, from the Dark Multiverse, in the event spearheaded by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, Dark Knight's Metal. If you're unfamiliar with it, the story revolves around Batman discovering a dark multiverse beneath the existing DC multiverse, connecting through mysterious metals. Through his investigations, he accidentally releases 7 evil versions of himself, one of which is the terrifying amalgamation of Batman and the Joker, known as the Batman Who Laughs. So today we're counting down some facts about this new nefarious character in our top 10 The Batman Who Laughs Shocking Facts. And
do you not know anything about this character? Just curious. The Batman Who Laughs.
I know a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I know
and
a little bit.
should be given, this video is rotten with spoilers. You've been warned.
Thank you. That was your spoiler warning, chat. If you care.
And at number 10 is his origin. While the Batman Who Laughs has been appearing in all of the other one-shots of the other 6 Batman alternates to recruit them, his origin story was revealed in the last of the tie-in one-shots, and it's as dark as you can imagine. While we'll be getting into more details as we go through our list, long story short, the Batman on this Earth is infected by Joker's toxins, causing him to transform into something truly sinister and Joker-inspired. In case you're wondering, he's from Earth -22 of the Dark Multiverse. And oh boy, I would never want to go to this Dark Multiverse. And at number 9 is Joker's influence. We all know that the Joker is an immensely sinister villain, but the Joker of this Batman's Earth is seemingly even more intense than the ones we've seen previously. He's creating pure chaos. He's murdered many of the characters we know and love, like Catwoman, and villains like the Penguin and Killer Croc, and almost every single cop in town. He's blown up all of the hospitals in Gotham, and he even recreates Bruce's parents' death in front of his eyes, of course with another kid's parents. On top of that, he tortured and murdered Jim Gordon in a pretty brutal way, by disintegrating his eyes and jaw while Gordon screamed out for Barbara with his last words. So it's easy to see how a Joker of this level could have had much more of a serious impact on Bruce of this Earth. And at number 8 is Joker's death. All of that pushes Bruce just too far. As Joker says in the comic to Batman, "We're running out of time, you and me." He goes on to say that there is no by the book anymore. I threw the damn thing out. I burned it. And that he was looking for that breaking point, in which I quote, "The joke too far. It has to exist, Bruce. I know it does." And yeah, it really does, with Bat snapping his neck, unfortunately releasing toxins in the process that Batman then inhales. The same toxins that he later finds out was actually killing the Joker slowly, justifying why the Joker pushed things as far as he did. And at number 7 is the other evil Batman. Sidetracking here a bit, let's take a look at the other evil versions of bats that appear in the event, who the Batman Who Laughs is the leader of, in a group called the Dark Knights, working under Barbatos, who is a powerful demon bat god that we still don't know too much about. Also, fun fact, in demonology, Barbatos is a Duke of Hell, who rules legions of demons. Pretty fitting. Anyway, the other Batman who inhabit the other Earths part of the Dark Multiverse include the Red Death, who is an amalgamation of Batman and the Flash on Earth -52 when Bruce steals the Speed Force from Barry Allen.
That which is fucking crazy to think about. Batman and the Flash combined.
Yeah.
No one needs that. That doesn't need to be a thing. Comics go so off the wall, which is, I think, there's still no really excuse of why DC Comics can't make good live action movies, because Marvel's is just as out there, and Marvel's does just fine, but DC goes way out there in a lot of their comics.
There's the Murder Machine, Earth -44's cyborg-inspired Batman. The Merciless, a new Batman motivated by Wonder Woman's death on Earth -12. The Drowned, who is a female alternate on Earth -11 known as Batwoman, who is at war with Atlantis when Gotham was sunk underwater in retaliation, so she surgically engineered herself to adapt. Then there's Earth -1's The Devastator, in which Batman induces the Doomsday virus on himself in order to defeat Superman. And lastly, Earth -32's Dawnbreaker, who was given a green ring to join the Green Lantern Corps, but uses it for revenge against his parents' killer spoiler instead. And at number 6 is the toxins. The toxins released from the Joker after his death, as Batman discovers, will transform him, leaving his superior mind the same, but adding Joker's moralities into the mix. He reveals this to the Bat family, who are all inclined to fight for Bruce and find a solution, but unfortunately by that point it's a bit too late. And at number 5 is his murder spree. Continuing from where our last number left off, the Batman who laughs has already claimed Bruce's mind, which he reveals to the members of the Bat family he's gathered: Batgirl, Red Robin, Red Hood, and Nightwing, and then proceeds to murder them with machine guns. From there, the comic flashes forward a week later, where we see that he's murdered most of the members of the Justice League. And with Superman being the last remaining member holding on by thread, he reveals that he's brought Lois Lane and Superman's son to the JLA Watchtower, then tosses a piece of black kryptonite to Supes, who then goes crazy and murders them alongside Batman who laughs. Yeah, pretty dark. And at number 4 are his Robins. Where there is Batman, there is definitely a Robin. But the Robin, or rather Robins, of the Batman who laughs world are not the kinds of sidekicks you would ever want to encounter. They're essentially chained up slaves, maniacal, like a disturbing pack of rabid dogs. Some critics actually praise the character's treatment of these Robins as being a horrifically truthful take on the relationship between Batman and his boy wonders. The fact that Batman has been collecting these underage apprentices, training them to be vigilantes, and depriving them of their childhoods by constantly putting them in danger. Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it. And at number 3 is his Earth is coming to an end. After the people of his Earth retaliate, the Batman who laughs pretty much obliterates everything on the planet, until he is all that remains. This causes the world to start to fade from existence. But not before Barbatos shows up, reveals the Dark Multiverse to him, and makes him his leader to guide other evil Batmen in his invasion of the true multiverse. And when he goes to acquire these other twisted Batman alternates, it's moments before their own worlds are about to be erased as well. Which raises some interesting questions about the nature of the Dark Multiverse. Are these negative Earths part of a grander cycle in which the Dark Multiverse resets itself? Or does this just happen to be perfect timing on Barbatos' part? Up next, number 2 is Ninth Metal. While this Batman seems to be a vicious villain for our Earth Zero Batman and co to go up against, he does have one weakness: Ninth Metal. Ninth Metal is a special metal with gravity negating effects, protective abilities. It accelerates healing and increases strength, but not for the inhabitants of the Dark Multiverse, who vibrate at a different frequency to Ninth Metal, and are hurt pretty badly when they come into contact with it. So it's likely we'll be seeing some more Ninth Metal being used sometime soon in the inevitable conflicts to come. And finally, in our number 1 spot, he's just the beginning. Get ready for the biggest spoiler of them all on this list. The very end of the Batman Who Laughs one-shot reveals part of the grander scheme behind Barbatos' plan. It's not just 7 evil Batman alternates that will be plaguing the main universe. In one of the last panels of the comic, the Batman Who Laughs not only reveals the twistedly beautiful logic behind his Joker-Batman evolution, but that the larger picture to his new purpose involves bringing in evil alternates. And yeah, they're horrific. Alright, there we have it, friends. That's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this terrifyingly new character, and what the overall arc of the Dark Knight's Metal event will entail. While the one-shot posed lots of interesting questions, like who the bandaged man that the Batman Who Laughs has in captivity that we see at the end of the comic, there's still a whole lot more that we'll be learning with the next several issues featured in the event, so keep your eyes peeled. If this was any indicator, it's gonna be a wild ride. In the meantime, maybe hold yourself over with some more Batman videos on our channel, like our top 10 alternate versions of Batman series, or our top 10 alternate versions of Joker series. And hey, if you dug this video, please show us some love and hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been Kelly Pally, and this has been Top 10 Nerd. I'll catch you all in the next one.
That was pretty cool. Like, I knew a little bit, but not all that. So
Right.
That was a trip.
Yeah, I didn't really consider the whole thing about the timing of all of those events that was going on. I knew about the events, but
Yeah, that was...
fair point.
I want to know a little bit more about it. That was interesting.
You're gonna get to because
The
we have
Batman
part
Who
2.
Laughs was one of the most terrifying and enticing villains to come out of DC last year. During the Dark Knight's Metal event, spearheaded by DC superstar Scott Snyder, Batman and other members of the Justice League crossed paths with some sinister alternates of the Dark Knight, spawned from the Dark Multiverse, which included the likes of the Batman Who Laughs, a version of Batman from Earth -22 who had been poisoned and warped by the Joker's toxin, transforming him into one of Gotham's and the world's worst nightmares. It's the Joker's insanity and homicidal chaotic brilliance within the body and mind of Bruce Wayne. So yeah, definitely not the criminal mastermind you would want to bump into in a dark alleyway, that's for sure. Now, we previously did a list on the character when he first appeared in the comics, and now he's gotten his own limited series that recently came out. So today we're returning to the villain with a brand new list, the top 10 Batman Who Laughs Shocking Facts Part 2. And be warned, friends, this list contains spoilers for the first 2 Batman Who Laughs issues in the character's solo series. You've been warned. Also, before we jump in, just want to give a major shout out to the Top 10 Nerd Instagram account that we just created. Head on over there, follow us, like some photos. We'll be giving away a bunch of stuff through that Instagram and through this channel, so head on over there and join the Nerd Squad.
That's cute.
Starting us off in at number 10, inspiration. How does one come up with a crazy character like the Batman Who Laughs? Well, aside from the character literally being Batman's worst nightmare, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo pulled some inspiration from other works of art while crafting the Madman. His name was influenced by two silent films that initially inspired Bob Kane and Bill Finger to create both Batman and the Joker back in the 30s. The first being The Bat, which came out in 1926, and the second, The Man Who Laughs, which was released in 1928. Now that the character is being further fleshed out by Snyder and artist Jock, the two have revealed more of what makes the character so compelling, and what went into his development. According to Jock, I quote, "The Batman Who Laughs is Batman. To me, he's more extreme than any of the other villains. It isn't just dark for the sake of it. There's a lot of energy in the character because he is the most chaotic, worst elements of Batman's given life." Snyder also included, I quote, "Ultimately, he is Batman with his conscience removed. And Batman without a conscience is just an apex predator who believes in anything to win, survive, anything to make sure any threat is analyzed."
Sky, we're learning about Batman.
Yeah. We're watching our last requested video from the YouTube before we get into your album. And it's the top 10 Batman Who Laughs Shocking Facts Part 2. Yeah.
That is pretty fucked up though with the Robins, but it makes sense.
We learning about bad Batman. Which I didn't know that first one.
Right.
I don't know how they came, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's what the inspiration behind the character design was.
It's really cool. They're both really good films.
It's a good time.
Yeah. The more you know. That whole thing about the Robins though, that's fucked up. But it's really cool that their mindset for that, because it makes sense. It's just fucked up, like really fucked up. But I like it.
We all want to learn about that.
Planned for and taken down before he even knows you're looking at it. And he has all of Bruce's memories. He has all of his training. He has all of his history. Yeah, that sounds convincingly bad. And at number 9, he fought the Joker. The Batman Who Laughs is very familiar with his individual counterparts. Now, aside from fighting Batman, he's also taken on the Joker, back in the Dark Knight's Metal story event, a fight that he survived. Now, this happened in Dark Knight's Metal issue 6, when Batman actually recruited the Joker of the main universe to help him fight Batman Who Laughs, sharing a common goal for once. As the Joker states, since the Batman Who Laughs is Batman, I quote, "What's the one thing Batman probably never imagined? Fighting alongside me." So the joke is, for the first time since your transformation, I'm guessing you don't actually know what's coming next, do you? Then as Batman dashes off to save Earth from being consumed by the dark multiverse forever, the last we see of the Joker and the Batman Who Laughs, who are fighting each other at this point, is them fighting in a cave. Then at the beginning of his 6-part series, the Batman Who Laughs tries to kill the Joker in police custody, who turns out just to be a decoy. The real Joker is in the Batcave, with Alfred painstakingly trying to keep him alive thanks to Bruce's orders after the Joker tried to commit suicide. And at number 8, the 6-part series. Due to the success of the Dark Knight's Metal story event and how much fans adored the new villainous Batman Who Laughs, Scott Snyder and Jock have come together to spearhead his 6-issue limited series, in which the Batman Who Laughs declares war on Batman, who in the Dark Knight's Metal event, along with his team up with the Joker and the help of the Justice League, kept the Dark Multiverse and the Demon Barbatos from destroying the regular multiverse. The Batman Who Laughs was working for the demon, but clearly he has his own agenda now. Now this series begins with Batman realizing that the only way to stop him may be to do the exact thing that he's sworn never to do. Break the same rule that created this insatiable villain. Kill him. And at number 7, Grim Knight. With the new series comes a new henchman for the Batman Who Laughs, a Batman alternate from a different universe known as the Grim Knight, who uses lethal force indiscriminately to win his battles. How did he come to be? Well, in his universe, when Joe Chill killed his parents, this Bruce Wayne picked up his gun and killed him for it. Wayne Enterprises of that universe is now a weapons manufacturer, and he's one of the most nightmarish versions of the Dark Knight to ever come out of DC. Snyder has described the Grim Knight as a cosmic character of sorts, one that the Batman Who Laughs found after traversing the Dark Multiverse, and felt is a valuable asset, the second most deadliest Batman after himself. The Batman Who Laughs himself describes him as the deadliest man alive, and that even his bullets shoot bullets. Which, Says a lot. And at number 6, Black Kryptonite. The Batman Who Laughs has the same tactical mind as Bruce Wayne, despite being utterly insane. This means he has his bases covered when it comes to having to deal with other members of the Justice League. Now, back in another comic, 2000's JLA Tower of Babel, we got to see Bruce's backup plans for the Justice League actually come into play. That comic revealed that the Caped Crusader had come up with a way to neutralize each of his greatest allies in case something terrible happened and they decided to go evil. This included schemes that could take out the likes of Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Plastic Man, and Martian Manhunter. These tactics are not something that has been lost on the character over the years either, since we've seen many a time where heroes get pinned against one another, and it's definitely not lost on the Batman Who Laughs, specifically when it comes to fighting his Kryptonian peers. He carries around a modified strain of black kryptonite that forces Kryptonians to kill the people they love the most in the world, and then die themselves. It's what he used to take out Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy back on his home of Earth -22. Speaking of equipment, moving on to number 5, Dark Metal Cards. Another tool in the Batman Who Laughs arsenal is none other than his Dark Metal Cards. Now these bad boys are a set of cards forged out of cosmic metallurgy.
Seems sus impossible for a Batman to do. You're not wrong. Also, what's up, Akechi? Long time no see.
You're joining us on an interesting one.
Right? You always doing it at the weirdest times, Akechi.
It's great.
I didn't know any of these facts. This part 2 is definitely more interesting than part 1 was.
Yeah. It's like gets into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Bit of things. That's
There's a lot.
I want to actually get into reading these. Cause like
I stopped getting into comics the same way I had to pick either manga or comics because it's a lot to collect them.
Right.
Like actual paperback collect them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't.
Yeah.
A material that can only be found in the dark multiverse that contains intriguing and potentially deadly properties, depending on how it's used. These cards, when used in the regular multiverse, are downright terrifying. The user of a dark card can manipulate reality to his or her whim, something that we witnessed in Teen Titans Volume 6, Issue 12 during the Dark Knight's Metal event, when the Batman Who Laughs and his Robin broke the Riddler out of Arkham Asylum. The Riddler was then given one of these cards, and previously, so were Bane, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and others from the Bat's Rogue Gallery. In that issue, we see the Riddler create a labyrinth full of terrible mindfuckery, as you can imagine. Needless to say, it's a weapon a lot of heroes aren't a huge fan of. Moving on to number 4, Bam Pow. Because the Batman Who Laughs has all of the same memories, training, and abilities as Batman himself, Batman has to dive into training, learning new techniques that the Batman Who Laughs would never have learned in order to try to get an upper hand on him. As we see in issue 2 of the Batman Who Laughs, this new technique is called Bam Pow, a technique that Bruce has made up and Alfred has named. Batman manages to use it to knock the Batman Who Laughs down, who then tries to psychologically screw with Bruce by saying perhaps him lying on the ground was all part of his plan all along. Despite the fact that Batman has learned some new tricks, regardless of what those tricks are, it's certain that the Batman Who Laughs, who even knew the exact timing that Batman would arrive to fight him in that issue, surely anticipated having to deal with a situation like this. That's when the Grim Knight snipes Batman from afar. Also that the Batman Who Laughs can get up and make one hell of a point to the Caped Crusader. And at number 3, Mind Games. The series so far has seen the likes of alternate versions of Batman, who the Batman Who Laughs has stated that he's bringing together to use. He tells Batman, I quote, "They're happier than you, Bruce. They're at peace because they affect change. Out of every version of us across the universe, you're the most miserable, the least accomplished. You don't understand why yet, but you will. See, to me, to us, you're the nightmare, Batman. The bad joke. Me, I'm the gun," which refers metaphorically to the gun that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. And at number 2, his plan. One of the most enticing things about the Batman Who Laughs is what exactly his goal is. Now during one panel, Batman disguised as Harvey Bullock tells Commissioner Gordon that he believes the Batman Who Laughs is attempting to make a serum, made up of the cardiac blood of Bruce Wayne's. And by Bruce Wayne's I mean multiple Bruces. He says, I quote, "He's from a realm of dark matter, where everything is relative to our hopes and fears. It's possible he could be creating something that infects our cells with dark matter, changing us into ... Jim Gordon then interrupts saying, nightmares like him, to which Bruce says, nightmares like us, our darkest vision of ourselves, predators. I mean, hey, when you combine the Joker's madness and Batman's scientific genius, that scheme does seem quite possible after all. And pretty darn up. And last but not least, in at number 1, his weakness. When the Joker finally awakens in the Batcave, Batman shakes him and demands to know what the Batman Who Laughs plan is, something that he believes the Joker has figured out. The Joker, in between laughs, says he doesn't know it, only one person does. When Batman asks who, the Joker says, I quote, your friend, his great weakness, the one that gets him right here, referring to his heart. We then cut away to Jim Gordon in a grocery store talking to a mysterious figure, his son, James Gordon, who Jim then says may be the only one who can help them stop the Batman Who Laughs. Previously in the comics, James Gordon Jr. first appeared in Batman issue 407 in 1987. He becomes a villain using his genius-level intellect, with his origins being further explored in 2011's Batman the Black Mirror, which coincidentally is the title of the upcoming third issue of the Batman Who Laughs solo series. The Black Mirror was written by none other than Scott Snyder. And aside from following Dick Grayson as Batman, it follows Jim and Barbara Gordon fighting the return of James Jr., a psychopath serial killer. What his connection to the Batman Who Laughs may be, or rather Jim Gordon and James Jr.'s involvement is to the Batman Who Laughs and his plan, well, speculate away in those comments, friends. Alright, there we have it. So, what do you think about the Batman Who...
Well, yes, it's basically evil Batman. Look,
I'm intrigued.
Props to Top 10 Nerd, because I can't imagine how much research goes into every single one of these videos. You have to go through so many different issues and comic stories to put together a list like this, so you get all your facts right.
Coming from the origins and stuff.
Because, my God, like, I didn't know any. I didn't
that was informative.
know
That was really cool.
any, like, the last, like, 5 of those I'd never even heard of before, so.
I hope they turn these into movies one day and they're actually good. That'd be cool.
She do got a big nose, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting.
That was really cool. I like that.
Remember to request whatever you guys want down in the comment section. We will at least try to check it out, like this one. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see us react to next. Follow us on Twitch, join the Discord, and we're going to get into Sky Limit's album, Limit Breaker.